Hello everyone and welcome to another reading. This is actually the first single reading I'll be doing on this channel. I've only done a few pick-a-card readings up to this point, but I was finding that pick-a-card readings weren't really my sort of thing. I didn't really like them. So instead, what I'll be doing is I will be creating playlists with different topics or questions, kind of like a pick a card reading would have, and there'll just be readings underneath them. And as I do these single readings, they will go under a category. Sorry, I keep hitting my camera. But yes, that's how I'll be doing it. So this is a reading for a specific person or a specific group, we'll say, right? So specifically for you, if you're here. So how this will work is if this does not resonate with you for any reason, there will be another playlist of other readings that might resonate with you more. So you can choose them based on the image, the title card. You can choose them based on, what deck I'm using. You can choose them by shuffling the playlist and letting it choose for you. There's a few options there that you can use to kind of select the best one for you. So if you are here, then you likely saw this in the title card, which is the Line Strider Tarot. So it's very pretty. I really like this one, and I hope you will too. I will also be using some other decks to kind of help clarify, and I have a few others I might tap into as well. This is the Light Seers Tarot, which I'll be using as clarifiers. I have my Psychic Tarot, really Psychic Oracle at the end of the day, but it does line up with Tarot. Actually, I haven't mixed this one as well yet. This is new. And then I'll also be using my Wisdom of Tao Oracle for some further guidance. Anyway, so the question we will be tackling today, if you read the title, is, are you on the right path in your career? I imagine since you're here, you're a little bit doubtful of whether you are or not, if you're on the right path, or if you're doing the right things, or if there's something else you could be doing. So let me start moving some of these to the side so we can start tapping into this. Oh, well, that'll just sit right there. That's fine. Let's see. Are you on? Oh, hello. Eight of Wands. All right. Fast energy. So so if you're here, you're probably impatient. You're feeling impatient about a goal that you have not reached and you want to reach, and that's likely why you might feel like you're on the right path. We'll just start with that right away. And if that doesn't resonate with you, this is probably not your pile, but immediately it's a very fast moving energy. Oh yeah. The Devil. If you've watched any number of readings, you've probably seen that one before. Oh, yeah, we've got fast-moving energy. We've got some trickery going on. Let's just see what the other cards say before I really give you the full picture, because sometimes the individual cards don't really tell you everything. Ooh, hello. The Emperor. Oh, my God, lots of major arcana coming in. Yeah, this is a very masculine energy I'm getting. Wands. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm laughing because this is very pointed already. I'm seeing a pattern here. A pattern of kind of impatience and a little bit of that practical energy. Oh, okay. Okay. The things got a little softer there. It's been very like hard edged so far. Maybe you feel like you're always overwhelmed, kind of strict with yourself. I get the feeling you're the kind of person that maybe feels like you're always tight, like you're tightening your body. If you don't notice that, try paying attention to your body right now and seeing if maybe that's a thing. Like try loosening something you didn't realize, just something random like your jaw, and see if, wow, it's like every so often it's happened to me too, where I'll loosen it and I didn't realize I was tightening it the whole time. But yeah, so I get the feeling you're kind of that kind of person to some degree, but that doesn't mean that you don't have soft sides or fun sides. I just think career-wise, I feel like you're a little strict with yourself and very impatient. Okay, we've got, this is interesting where that's going. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let's put that to the side just for now. So like I was kind of saying, we'll just kind of start with this, but you know what? I have something called the Body Tarot. I actually can't remember if that's exactly what it's called. But it's like body part specific, and I'm a little curious. I don't know why I feel like this is relevant, but I really want to take a few of these. The ear. Okay. Okay. Oh, wow. Arteries. High Priestess. Yeah, I think those two will suffice here. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I'm making a lot of noises. Like maybe you don't know why I'm making noises, but yeah, this is pretty pointed so far. I'm seeing, okay, obviously very first, impatience. That is the very first thing that I'm seeing here when it comes to your work or your career. You're impatient about something you are trying to achieve. Emperor here. I see you kind of have this, and you have the Queen as well. I see this energy of like, you're good at something. You have good ideas, you have strengths, you're organized, something, whatever it is that gives you that in work, but you feel like you're not getting maybe recognition you deserve, or maybe you feel like something's going on here that's making you feel like you haven't achieved what you want to achieve, and you're kind of rushing through all of this. You feel like you have to get it now, or feel like you want to get it now, and you put in just a little bit of work sometimes, you put in a lot of work, and you still haven't seen the results. Wow. I can kind of, if I were to, I'm going to have to use these clarifiers, but I'm pretty sure I can take a guess as to what I think would show up. You know what? Let's pull one of these too. There's more to this. I'm very intrigued by this pile. You guys have a very fiery energy. Maybe you are a fire sign. I could see a Leo. I could see a Sagittarius. I could even see an earth sign, like a Virgo, coming in here. Honestly, a lot of them could fit in, but I'm not getting water sign too much. Clarity. Interesting. Yeah, this is my unicorn oracle. What's kind of interesting is that, I kind of, compared to other ones I've done where everything feels kind of confusing, I feel like you have a very clear vision of what you want, but that's where things come in. But there is this sense of not really knowing what you want. See this devil? You're kind of, you're tricking yourself in some way, or something is tricking you. You're basically putting yourself in a very difficult position right now, in a position where you can't win in some way. So I feel like, even though maybe you think you have clarity about exactly what you want, and all you're really trying to figure out is if you're going to get there, can I get there? Am I doing the right things to get there? I don't think that's the question here that you should be asking yourself. I think you really need to ask yourself, where are you actually trying to get? And it might not be what you think. I definitely get the strong sense of you're not as clear as you think you are. And that might not make sense to you right now, but maybe it'll make sense further on this reading, but you're definitely kind of restricting yourself so much right now that I think you're not allowing yourself to see as clearly as you could, even though you think you are. And this is the problem when you get really tunnel vision, is it can be really easy to think that you're seeing exactly what you want to, but that's the problem. You're seeing exactly what you want to, not what's actually there. So you have to be a little careful with that. So there's definitely an aspect of that going on here. God, so much fiery energy. But what's interesting is the star comes in here. And the star here is really the main advice. And the star is about hope. And it's a much softer energy than anything else here. So I think if we're going to take one thing away from this right now, if you had to leave right now and you weren't going to listen to the rest of this, soften your approach to everything. You need to soften that approach. Take in some more of that feminine energy. Wish upon a star. I'm not saying like don't be practical and don't keep working hard. That's not that. But I think that you've kind of like, it's almost like this weird sense of like giving up hope to some degree. Like there's a part of you that just has kind of given up on the fact that, you know, good things can happen without you having to try so hard. And I think that's what this card is telling you, is you don't have to try as hard as you think. Just like you're not as clear as you think, you don't have to try as hard as you think. And not just that, but I think you can be hopeful that where you're going to end up is good. You can be hopeful that where you're going to end up is good. I'm repeating that because it feels important. That I'm not trying to, what I'm trying to avoid saying is that you're going to end up exactly where you want, because that I'm still of the opinion that this like tunnel vision, like this vision you have isn't exactly right for you. But I do think that if you slow down a little bit, take it easy, really hone in on like what you might be missing, and really tap into, again, the hopefulness. I know in some people this can hold them back, and some people just wishing and hoping and not doing anything about it can hold them back, but I don't think that's you. I think you've put in quite a bit of energy and time and effort into all of this, so that's not your problem. Your problem is you're going too far with it, and you're not really sitting back to enjoy the journey and to allow it to come to you at any point. You can't force things to happen. So that's my main advice I would give you if you were to cut the reading off right here, which sometimes happens, right? And I do see as like, you know, as kind of like, if you do this, and I know, don't forget that this is current energy, right? This is where you're at right now. And if you were to soften your approach a little bit, I see you, and Six of Swords can be a bittersweet energy, but I like Six of Swords because I find that Six of Swords is very hopeful. It's a little bittersweet sometimes. It's you know, kind of after the conflict, but I see this as a leaving behind of that negative energy, of all that conflict, of all that warring egos, of all of that. I see that as leaving that behind. You see like their boat, they're sailing away. There might still, and after all this, I think you're still going to feel some burdens. I'm sorry for the, if you could hear that, sorry for the ambulance in the background. I feel like that always happens whenever I'm saying something important. So I feel like this is something super important I need to tap into here. But yeah, it's a leaving behind of something. I think you're in a cycle right now, and you probably have been stuck in it for a while. I'm going to get to these, by the way. They're still on my mind. Yeah, I feel like you are stuck in a cycle, and it's just repeating over and over again with the same coat of paint. With a different coat of paint. And I think that that's kind of where you've been getting stuck. Even though you're working hard, you're hitting a roadblock. And because of this trickery of you just working hard, not letting things come to you, trying to force things, it's just putting you back in this cycle. Because I think the lesson you're supposed to learn in this particular cycle is to leave some of this behind and to allow some of this to come to you, to allow good things to come to you, whether it's what you asked for or not. That's unfortunately how the world works. It's not just, manifestation isn't always just getting what you want. It's also getting what you need. And the Page of Wands comes up, and I get this weird sense of becoming a student again. I kind of feel like where you're headed and what will be really good for you is, I feel like you're a really experienced person with lots and lots of experience, and what's going to benefit you is to become the student again and to allow yourself to be in that curious energy, not arrogant, not I know better than everyone else here, why is no one listening to me, not, you know, that kind of feeling, which I kind of get the sense that maybe that there's a part of you that feels like that's just like, oh, I'm good at this, why am I not moving forward in it? I feel like you need to revert back into student energy, and not just being a student, because you might be, like physically, you might actually be a student, but, or you might be learning, but actually getting curious, asking questions, of other people, of colleagues, of of mentors, of random people on the internet asking questions. I think that's going to be really beneficial to you, and it'll allow you to help soften that energy. And that's where I think the ear comes in. So this is lovers. This doesn't mean lovers in this case. This, I think, is about collaboration. And I think that ties in here, collaborating with other people, learning from them, listening to them. I think maybe what you're lacking at this stage is listening. And I think we all like to think we listen, right? It's really easy to get stuck in this thing. I'm like, of course I'm listening. I heard what they said. I can repeat it back to you, but that's not the same. Like actually, truly listening without the intent of responding, like allowing yourself to observe and just take it in, and without, again, having preconceived notions or judgments beforehand too, which we tend to have. We go into these conversations thinking this is what we're going to say to them, or coming in with but. Don't do that here. This is about collaboration with other people, working with other people. I think what's going to help you in your career more than anything right now is that collaboration and that softening, right? Wow. And then the arteries also comes here. This is the High Priestess, which often has to do with like intuition and stuff like that. I love that it says mystery though, because I kind of see this as, this is more fiery energy. I think this to me is telling us don't lose the fire. Like don't lose the independence. Don't lose any of that. And like, I know all of this I've talked about, this isn't to give up who you are, obviously. I keep thinking that what keeps coming to mind is like blood pumping, right? Like keep that up. That doesn't have to change. All that needs to change is your approach to it. And all that needs to change is the rest and the pause and the taking people along with you side of it. I do like that. That's a blood pumping. It just keeps coming to mind, but it balances out with the ear. So pausing to listen and collaborating with partners. And I'm going to clarify. Let's do some, I'm not clarifying anything in particular. Yeah, okay. Always some underlying notes. Interesting. Because for such a fiery energy, I think you are a little bit disappointed in yourself. There is a sense of disappointment, maybe of other people, but I think it's a lot of disappointment in yourself. And just, overarching, let's say, it's not heartbreak, but just kind of a little bit of sadness there about where you thought you would be, or where you think you could be, and the mistakes you think you've made. It's like this kind of emotional side that feels disappointed, but you're kind of trying to mask it by working hard and by being strong and all that. And I think that's where some of the softening comes in, some of the vulnerability, getting clear. We talked about clarity, because something about clarity we always need to keep in mind is we can be clear logically. What about emotionally? It all needs to come together. And if you're clear logically, that does not mean you're clear emotionally. That can still be muddied. Got 7. Yeah, it's very weirdly emotional energy. Choices. Yeah, you've got some choices that you've been ignoring or putting to the side, or just generally not considering. Or maybe you have been considering them, and that's kind of where you're a little bit stuck here. There are options and choices you need to make. And I think that's also messing with that tunnel vision, because what tends to happen when you have a strong vision, when choices and opportunities presented to you, it can really throw that for a loop, because it kind of makes you realize that the path isn't as clear as you thought it was. And I think that probably really throws you for a loop, realizing that the path you'd set out isn't quite as clear as you really wanted it to be or thought it would be. Oh yeah, I knew this was going to come up. I knew the Hanged Man would come up. Always on cue, doesn't it? Yeah, Hanged Man. Ooh, simple. Changing perspective, as we were kind of talking about. We talked about lacking a little bit of the clarity, and I think, that's where some of this comes in. It's changing the perspective about what it is you really want. Because I think you've forgotten something. You've forgotten something really important along this career journey. And while what you're doing is great and it's, it might be working to some degree and it's practical and it's, stable perhaps, or maybe it's not, maybe it's just practical. I think there's something wrong here, not in how you're doing it, but in how you're thinking about it, how you're perceiving it. And that's true in a lot of these career readings, to be honest. It's never really what you do that's wrong most of the time. It's what you don't do and how you see things. Always. That's what tarot's for. Let's try one more. I feel like we can clarify just a little bit more. Oh, this one's sticking out to me. Yeah, choices. Indecision. You're trying to ignore some of that indecision that you have. You're such an impatient person that stuff like this, these pauses you have to take, they don't really sit well with you, do they? You don't like them. You're probably more likely to just race like past the indecision and make a quick choice because like on a quote unquote gut feeling, even though you didn't really take the time to think about it. When sometimes you do actually have to take time to think about things, and not just for a day. Like some of these decisions can take a long time. Yeah, I mean, it's, wow, kind of powerful stuff to me. But I'm going to pull, I feel like, you know what? Here, no, we're going to stop with this one. We're going to move on to this. I get the feeling we've got some thoughts. You've got a strong energy here. You're a very strong person. I can tell. Like, even if maybe you don't necessarily feel that way, I think that's how people often see you. They see you as a very strong person. Oh my God, 7 of Cups comes up again. Yeah, it's the choices. It's throwing you off. You're maybe, and I'm getting the feeling that maybe recently, and why you're probably here is you've been presented with choices, or you've been debating choices, or maybe some new opportunities recently open themselves up to you, and you don't like the feeling of not knowing what option's actually going to be best for you. Most people don't, right? But it's for you especially, it's like, oh God, like, how am I supposed to know which one is actually going to work for me? And you'd almost rather, to some degree, blindfold yourself and just, blindly go down one path that just feels right, maybe. Yeah, obstacles and challenges. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of, it's getting in your way. It's a battle of ego. And it might not just be yours either, to be honest. It could be family. It could be someone around you. Maybe there's a partner in your life, or again, family, or even a coworker who's kind of been pushing you maybe even faster than you would like, or is forcing you to make decisions that just don't feel right, or have been kind of blocking you from achieving this thing that you've been, pushing yourself towards. They're like acting as this roadblock, and it's really frustrating you. That's a sense I get. I think this on the path, like you're really running into, again, let's not forget from all of this, the devil's still there, right? And at the end of the day, despite all of these other challenges that are being presented to you, at the end of the day, it's really you that's kind of tricking yourself. And that'll be true in a lot of cases. I need to pull this one out because I think this is my Ohara Koson Major Arcana. I used to always pull these, like one of these is like an overarching energy, and I just get the sense that this one, I just think you really need to take a pause right now. There's like a pause to find that clarity, to soften that energy. I keep saying that because that's how I'm feeling it. I'm not sure how to explain it though, what soften your energy means to you. And I think part of it's going to be a body thing, like maybe doing some meditations, stretching, sitting, and like each limb allowing it to loosen, because I feel like you're just probably just too tight. And you might not really realize it. Oh, hello. High Priestess and Empress. Yeah, we got two very kind of similar energies. Here we go. You're going to like this. You're on the course to receive real rewards, but only if you continue your discipline and motivation. Follow your intuition, you are headed towards the lasting contentment of success. I think this is important, again, tying into the High Priestess here as well, to continue doing the hard work that you're doing and putting in that effort, because that shouldn't stop. That part is very good, and it should continue. And then we also have the Empress. The future will bring healing and respite for your emotional and physical wounds. Your investments will pay off if you carefully tend to them. So again, nothing about this is saying to stop doing any of this. It's just a softening. It's an understanding that the future might not be as clear-cut as you think it will, but again, where you're headed is good. I repeat that again. Where you are headed will be good. And you need to tend to these investments you've made in yourself, in others, in your career. And when I say tend, I like using that. I like that word because it's caring, it's nurturing. And it's not just, it's not just math and logic and science. It's also just care and nurture, right? It's a softer energy. And you need to kind of take that approach to your life and your career as well. How do you take care of your career? How do you take care of yourself in your career? How are you doing that? Because chances are you've only thought about how you're going to get somewhere and not how are you taking care of this thing you've created, this career, and yourself as a part of it, and the people involved in it, right? Coworkers, family. That all plays a part. And that's something to really keep in mind, because that's going to play a part into your bigger vision, that clarity that you might not have fully understood or realized. So we're also going to pull just a couple of these to my Wisdom of Tao Oracle deck. Whew. Let's see what we got. Oh, that was already flipped over. Yeah, lovers and partnership. Open your heart to love and live in the moment with passion and exuberance. Indulge in the harmony of a great partnership. Be happy. This could actually refer to you having romantic relationships too. I'm not going to deny that that's a possibility. If you're single and this career you feel like you've been so focused on this, you haven't done this, and you feel like you need to focus on this, maybe this is telling you that you can still have successful relationships outside of your career that will support your career. This is all in support of this question, right? But if you are already in a relationship, or that message is not for you, this also is referring just to partnership in general, that collaboration we talked about, right? Partnering with people, understanding you don't have to go about any of this alone, and you never did. There are other people who will do this with you. That's good. Some of these cards are flipped over, but that's okay. Let's see what we got. Yeah, most of these cards are flipped over. Karma, yes. Oh, yes. Leader. Amazing. Okay. Perfect. We were talking about a cycle before. You're in a karmic cycle, and I think this proves it. You are in a karmic cycle. You were trying to be taught a lesson, and you are currently not learning that lesson. To be quite frank, you are allowing that lesson to go straight over your head. You keep thinking that if you just keep working hard, you're going to get through this, but you can't force your way through a karmic cycle. That is not going to happen. The opportunity to create good karma is now. All past life influences are working towards a final balance. Accept what is. Yes, hello. Again, softer energy, not forcing things. If you feel like you're forcing something, don't. Allow things to be what they are. If you get news at work or within your job that doesn't seem great to you, or that wasn't what you expected or wanted, it doesn't have to be something life-changing or super upsetting that throws you into a tizzy. It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be something that causes you to lash out at people. It doesn't have to be something that causes anyone to do that. It can simply be what it is, and you can move forward from there. That's a softer approach. A softer approach might also be figuring out why things happen that way. Again, getting curious. We're talking about a softer approach to things. You are being called upon for leadership. Leader. I definitely got that energy from you. A very strong, that was the Emperor card right there. The Jade Emperor is helping you to overcome barriers. Fuse your ambition with virtue. Sorry, I wasn't showing that. Employ your power with honor and wisdom. Move forward with unstoppable momentum. Success is inevitable. You have a lot of great energy here leading you to success. And I really think that this is absolutely going to come for you. I don't think it's going to come as quickly, maybe, as you thought. It might. It might. There's nothing in here that's hindering it. But you need to hold back on that impatience. And again, this isn't saying a softer energy, but I love how it says fuse your ambition with virtue. Remember, all of everything you're doing to achieve that vision comes with something behind it. There's a reason for everything that you're doing. And there is virtue, and there's clarity, and there are goals, there are people involved. Really what I'm getting at is that there's a lot of things tied into this. It's not just your career here. And I think that's maybe what you're missing. You're missing the big picture to some degree. You're looking at one thing and you're not seeing the rest of it. And I think that'll help you to look at this with a little bit more hope and less, why have I not reached this already? Or why aren't things going the way that I wanted them to? Listen, collaborate, get curious. That'll automatically bring you to the softer energy, and then keep working hard. Same thing. So you're on a good path. You're not on a bad path. Like, it is not automatically bad. I will put that out there. But, and I say but, which I hate doing because everything before but usually doesn't mean much. But it is important also to keep in mind that you need to break out of this cycle that you are currently in, because you are in one. You've probably recognized it to some degree, and now is the time to really do that, or else you're just going to keep getting into the same cycle, and it will continue to be frustrating. So I'm going to end there, straight up. I hope you like this reading. If you somehow managed to get this far and it didn't resonate with you, there will be more readings in this playlist. Feel free to check that out, and I will link it below once the playlist is available. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next reading.